Have you ever stopped to think about the choices you make at the table every day? It might seem like just a simple cup of tea, an occasional soda, or that processed meat that adds a special flavor to your snack, but in many cases, we are unknowingly consuming real traps for our health. When we talk about longevity and a healthy life in our later years, every food decision matters, and there are combinations that can trigger serious problems, such as chronic inflammation and even an increased risk of cancer. Imagine inadvertently promoting dangerous conditions simply by repeating a habit that seems harmless. As we age, our bodies become more vulnerable to external factors, and what goes unnoticed in our younger years can have much greater consequences in maturity. That's why it's so important to understand exactly what you're putting on your plate and in your glass. Moreover, knowing how these seemingly simple choices can impact your well-being and long-term quality of life is essential. In today's video, we will explore the four most dangerous food combinations that many older adults continue to consume without realizing it. Artificially sweetened beverages, processed meats paired with alcohol, sugary sodas, and even tea or coffee served at excessively high temperatures may be compromising your health in ways you can't even imagine. And we're not talking about minor concerns here. These are practices that can weaken the immune system, cause ongoing inflammation, and open the door to serious illnesses. Before we dive into the details, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. This is very important because we are always sharing valuable information about health, longevity, and well-being. With a simple click, you'll ensure access to content that can make all the difference in how you take care of yourself. And remember, it's never too late to take care of your health, but every minute counts. So subscribe now and get ready to discover information that can change your life. In this video, you won't find generic or cliched tips. I will reveal what few know and what many health professionals hesitate to share clearly. We'll get straight to the point, showing what lies behind these food combinations, explaining why they are so dangerous and what you can do to avoid them. You will understand why it's so important to steer clear of these habits and how small changes can be the key to living with more energy, vitality, and, most importantly, truly robust health. Let's begin now. To start, let's talk about beverages with artificial sweeteners, which are a hidden danger for older adults. Throughout life, many individuals adopt diet drinks and iced teas, thinking they are a healthier choice. However, these products often contain sweeteners such as aspartame, saccharin, and sucralose, which can profoundly alter the balance of the intestinal microbiota. Researchers indicate that these changes can trigger low-grade inflammation, which is especially concerning in the elderly. This is because over the years, the digestive and immune systems become more delicate, increasing the body's vulnerability. A little-known detail is that these sweeteners are not merely sugar substitutes. They affect the body's internal environment, making glucose regulation more difficult and favoring conditions like insulin resistance. In older adults, such conditions can be the starting point for more serious problems, including a higher risk of developing certain types of cancer. The impact often accumulates over time, making the effects even more noticeable in later life. Consider, for example, a common case in the clinic. Mrs. Anna, age 72, decided to replace traditional sugar with artificial sweeteners in her daily routine. At first, it seemed like an intelligent choice. However, after a few years, she began to notice changes in her appetite, frequent intestinal discomfort, and difficulties in glycemic control. These changes, initially subtle, added up to a series of other risk factors, exposing her to more serious problems. This illustrates how seemingly simple choices can have unexpected implications. Another relevant issue is the frequency of consumption. An occasional glass of iced tea, sweetened artificially, may not seem like a big deal, but daily and prolonged use magnifies the adverse effects. Additionally, it's important to remember that many products labeled as diet or light, hide ingredients that, in the long run, may not be as beneficial as they appear. The key is moderation and considering more natural alternatives whenever possible. Finally, it's not about demonizing the use of artificial sweeteners, but about understanding the possible consequences of their regular and frequent consumption, especially for older adults who already face unique challenges in achieving healthy aging. Making conscious choices is essential. By seeking more natural and balanced options, it is possible not only to reduce inflammation, but also to promote better health in later years. This kind of care contributes to greater resilience of the body, helping you age with more quality and well-being. Alcohol paired with processed meats is also a dangerous combination. An enjoyable evening with a glass of wine and a few slices of salami might seem harmless, but in reality, this combination can pose a risk to your health. Processed meats, such as sausages, bacon, and hams, are already classified by the WHO as carcinogenic, while alcohol is a well-known agent that can potentiate cellular mutations. When consumed together, the impact on the body can be even more significant, especially for older adults. The body, with its slower metabolism, takes longer to process these toxins, increasing the cumulative damage over time. Imagine the case of Mr. Henrique, aged 74, who used to enjoy his favorite beer accompanied by processed meats every weekend. Over the years, he began to notice digestive difficulties and more fatigue than usual. The explanation lies in what experts call a double hit. Alcohol, by compromising the liver's natural detoxification mechanisms, intensifies the effects of the nitrates and preservatives found in processed meats. Together, these elements can generate chemical compounds that are carcinogenic in the digestive tract. Another important aspect to consider is the social and cultural context. For many, sharing a glass of wine and a charcuterie board is more than just a meal. It's a moment of interaction and pleasure. However, it is essential to balance these habits with healthier alternatives. Opting for fresh meats and reducing alcohol consumption, or even choosing natural juices to accompany meals, can make a significant difference. Small changes, like choosing grilled fish instead of salami or replacing the alcoholic beverage with a naturally flavored sparkling water, are practical examples that can improve health without sacrificing the joy of dining. Moreover, it's important to emphasize that this is not about cutting everything out at once. A gradual approach can be more effective and less intimidating. Gradually, Mr. Henrique began to experiment with new food combinations, discovering flavors and textures that not only pleased his palate, but also contributed to his long-term health. He realized that by avoiding these harmful combinations, he felt more energetic and enjoyed a better quality of life, even at an advanced age. The main message here is that informed and conscious choices can help minimize the risk factors associated with health in later years. Reducing alcohol consumption and avoiding processed meats is not just a matter of disease prevention, but also of promoting a healthier and more resilient aging process. By making these decisions, older adults are not only avoiding future problems, but also enjoying a lighter and more balanced present. Sugary sodas are often seen as an innocent pleasure, but in reality, they can hide serious dangers for health, especially for older people. Combining high amounts of sugar, artificial colorings, and acids, these drinks not only compromise oral health, but also contribute to chronic inflammation and insulin resistance. For older adults whose bodies already bear the weight of decades of wear and tear, these effects become even more pronounced. Consider, for example, the case of Mr. Jaime, a 76-year-old man who had the habit of consuming 2 sugary sodas a day. He began to feel constant fatigue, difficulty in maintaining stable blood sugar levels, and over time, more serious pancreatic issues. Experts warn that these beverages, often seen merely as empty calories, actually promote cellular changes that can increase the risk of severe conditions such as cancer. The caramel coloring present in many of these drinks contains compounds that are also associated with potential carcinogenic effects, especially with regular and prolonged consumption. Furthermore, the high glycemic index of sugary sodas contributes to spikes in blood sugar followed by rapid drops. This cycle, repeated over the years, not only affects metabolism, but also overloads organs like the liver and kidneys, making them more susceptible to damage. Older adults, in particular, face a slower recovery after each episode of inflammation or metabolic stress, intensifying the negative impact of this seemingly trivial practice. Healthy alternatives can make a big difference. Replacing sugary sodas with teas, lightly sweetened with honey or with water flavored with natural fruits, provides taste without the risks associated with excess sugar and artificial colorings. Small changes like these can significantly improve overall well-being over time. These options not only reduce inflammation and cellular damage, but also help maintain a more stable energy level, promoting more robust health in later years. Finally, it is important to reinforce that the secret lies in moderation and informed choices. It is not about eliminating every pleasure, but about finding a balance that allows you to enjoy life with health and vigor. By reducing the consumption of sugary sodas and seeking natural alternatives, older adults can not only prevent diseases, but also build a lifestyle that promotes healthier and more resilient aging. Another little-known fact is that drinking tea and coffee when they are too hot increases the risk of esophageal cancer. The tradition of enjoying a steaming cup of coffee or tea can be comforting, but it also hides a significant health risk, particularly among older adults. Studies show that frequent consumption of very hot beverages can cause thermal injuries to the esophagus, a sensitive area already prone to damage over time. These repeated traumas hinder the natural tissue regeneration process, especially in older people, increasing their vulnerability to cellular changes that can evolve into cancer. To illustrate, consider Mr. Alberto, a 78-year-old gentleman who never let his coffee cool down before drinking it. Over time, he began to feel a slight discomfort in his throat, which he attributed to aging. However, an examination revealed lesions in the esophagus that could have been prevented if he had allowed his beverage to cool. This example reinforces the importance of one simple habit: waiting a few minutes before drinking that freshly made tea or coffee. Moreover, it is interesting to note that this change in consumption does not mean giving up pleasure. On the contrary, many tea and coffee lovers report that by lowering the temperature, they are able to better appreciate the flavors and aromas of these beverages. Instead of a hurried, scalding gulp, each cup becomes a richer and more enjoyable experience, simultaneously protecting one's health. Older adults, in particular, can benefit doubly, not only reducing the risk of injury, but also enjoying longer, more pleasant moments of relaxation. Other international studies confirm the link between very hot beverages and an increased incidence of esophageal cancer, especially in regions where this practice is common. These findings serve as both a warning and an incentive to adopt small changes in our daily routines. It is not about giving up tea or coffee, but about taking care of how they are consumed, valuing long-term health and preventing future problems. Finally, reducing the temperature of beverages is a simple act with great preventive impact. For older adults in particular, this practice represents an important step towards healthy aging and a higher quality of life. By making this choice, not only is one protecting their health, but also enjoying each moment with more tranquility and pleasure. Over the years, small changes in daily habits can bring impressive results for health and well-being. The case of Mr. George, 81 years old, is an inspiring example. He decided to give up sugary sodas and started waiting for his coffee to cool down before drinking it. These simple decisions transformed not only his digestion but also his daily energy, showing that even modest adjustments can have a significant impact, especially in later life. Another example is that of Mr. Henry, 79, who used to consume processed meats frequently. By replacing them with fresh meats and increasing his intake of vegetables, he gradually noticed an improvement in his energy and a reduction in joint pain. This demonstrates how conscious choices, even small ones, can positively change the course of health by reducing risk factors and promoting healthy aging. These accounts also reinforce the importance of disease prevention through simple adjustments in diet and lifestyle. The secret lies in consistency and the pleasure of exploring new habits. By opting for less processed foods, reducing sugar, and giving that hot coffee a moment to cool, older adults are not only avoiding health problems but also discovering a new level of well-being and resilience. Small changes, like starting the day with a light walk or including fresh fruits in meals, become the starting point for a healthier life. The focus is not on restricting pleasures, but on replacing them with equally satisfying and more beneficial choices. Furthermore, these adaptations are accessible and easy to implement. They do not require radical changes or financial investments, but rather a new way of approaching daily habits. The journeys of George and Henry show that, even at an advanced age, it is possible to learn, experiment, and reap the benefits of a more balanced lifestyle. The result is a higher quality of life, with more energy to enjoy moments with family and friends. In short, the power of these small changes lies in their simplicity and cumulative impact. Every healthy choice, no matter how small it may seem, contributes to a longer, happier life free from complications. This approach empowers each older adult to become the protagonist of their own health, with the autonomy to make choices that truly make a difference. Which of these combinations caught your attention the most? Have you been consuming any of them without ever considering the impact they might be having on your health? I'd love to hear your experiences and learn what changes you plan to make from now on. Share your story in the comments and help enrich the discussion. After all, every exchange here can serve as inspiration for others who are also on a quest for a healthier life. And if you found this information useful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll always be up to date with the most recent and transformative tips. Activate the bell to receive notifications for new videos, because you never know which piece of information might truly change the way you care for your health. Your interaction motivates us to continue sharing relevant content, so participate and share this video with friends and family. Now take the next step towards a longer and healthier life. Click on the next recommended video and discover more practical strategies to improve your diet, strengthen your health, and enjoy every stage of life with greater quality. See you in the next video.